everybody, I'm Julie. You're about to watch a really great video about the movie Black Sheep. It's a really good movie, a really good comedy. You're about to watch a really good video on the movie Black Sheep, which is a really great movie. So you're about to watch a really great video about a really great movie. You're in for a treat. Hi, I'm Julie, writer and director of the indie nerdy comedy Geekless Punk, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about the movie Black Sheep, how it's like a really good movie. This is called a DVD. We used to watch movies on DVDs. Before that, we would watch movies on VHS. Yeah, okay, so, here's what happened. Someone left a comment on one of my videos. Okay, someone left a comment. So I did a review of the movie Kajillionaire, which I really like. Someone left a comment named, this person's name is Ellen Claire, and she said, or they said, don't know what their pronoun preference is. Okay, but Ellen Claire said, there's not enough discourse around this movie, exclamation point. It's absolutely my favorite. And she's talking about the movie Kajillionaire, which I will link to that. That's a movie review I did of a really great movie called Kajillionaire, which they took it off HBO Max, so I bought it on Prime Time, Amazon Prime. Okay, so, but the movie Kajillionaire, that's a movie I watch when, well, actually, it's a great movie, but it's a movie I would watch when I feel sad because it would make me feel better. So in that vein, that's why I decided to talk about Black Sheep, because Black Sheep is another movie I watch when I'm feeling sad, and it just makes me feel better. Or I'll just think of scenes from Black Sheep that make me laugh. I just think of scenes from Black Sheep and like different scenes, and I'll just think of a scene and it'll make me laugh, and then I don't like feel sad anymore. So yeah, so this is my review of a movie called Black Sheep. Okay, the first thing I want to say about Black Sheep is that, there it is. Okay, it's a really, really funny movie. It's just really funny. Like, the jokes are funny. David Spade, it's starring David Spade. The movie's starring Chris Farley and David Spade. Chris Farley is like so funny and so hilarious, and he's one of my all-time favorite comedic actors. And one thing I really like about Chris Farley in pretty much all his movies, or even his sketches, to me, he just always comes across so lovable. And that's the same in Black Sheep. And the plot of Black Sheep basically is there's a politician running to be the governor, I think, of Washington, the state of Washington. And his brother is played by Chris Farley. And Chris Farley keeps trying to good-heartedly promote his brother. And then Chris Farley gets into these mishaps. And then it turns out that well, spoilers, I guess, Chris Farley's brother for governor is on purpose trying to sabotage the competition and on purpose trying to hurt Chris Farley as well, if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so the movie's super funny because Chris Farley, like, the physical comedy is hilarious. David Spade's really funny in the movie too because he's just super funny. I know in comedy they say, like, you have the person who's completely does the broad comedy. That's Chris Farley, very physical, hilarious. And then you kind of need the quote-unquote straight guy. That doesn't mean like sexual orientation. It just means you need the guy who's not so bananas to counteract that. And so I think that Chris Farley and David Spade are such a delightful comedic duo, because I think that it's easy to walk away from Black Sheep thinking, I always think of Chris Farley when I think of scenes of Black Sheep. But I recently watched it, and David Spade's just as funny as Chris Farley. It's just he's not so, like, you know what I mean? His comedy is more subdued, but I think the way they play off each other is hilarious. So I think this movie's really, really funny. It's well written. It has a plot. That's pretty cool. The plot makes sense, in my opinion. And then Chris Farley's so good-hearted. The movie starts where he's promoting his brother, and he's in this, like, kind of like a Winnebago, I want to say. And for some reason, there's these dogs chasing him, and they never really explain why the dogs are chasing him. And it starts where he's like, why are you doing this? he's saying that to the dogs. It's so funny because they never explain why did the dog start chasing his Winnebago. I don't know, y'all. It's just so funny. Okay, the second thing I really like about this movie, Black Sheep, first of all, it's really funny, but secondly, it is very inspiring and motivating. Like, it's not like cheesy at all, but I like cheese. Cheese is great. But there's this part where Chris Farley, he goes to, like, it's like a Rock the Vote event that MTV used to do. And maybe they still do it. But he ends up hanging out with these bands. And anyway, he ends up hanging out with a band. And he perhaps, like, gets a contact high or what have you. Anyway, but he gets on stage. They think he's a politician. They think he's his brother, and he's not. And he gets on stage at Rock the Vote, and he's giving a motivational speech, and it's the most funniest, awesome thing ever, because he's just saying random things that people have said before. I think he says, "I have a dream," or "one small step for mankind," and so he's, but I don't know, and it's so funny when he does it, but the crowd's going bananas, and he's going bananas, and to be honest, it's one of the best motivational speeches ever given, like, straight up, because when I'm feeling sad, like, I just think of that motivational speech, it makes me laugh and feel good, and it inspires me to, like, keep going, you know, keep following my dreams, that kind of thing. So, I actually do find this movie, like, inspiring and motivating, because, the entire movie, Chris Farley's trying to do the right thing, and I appreciate that. So that's really cool. Okay, the third thing I really like about this movie, Black Sheep, is that for any, like, aspiring, like, filmmakers or screenwriters or anything like that, that's what I am. This movie is, like, a great study on, like, there's a 3-act structure, it's well written, it's well directed. By the way, it's directed by a woman named Penelope Spheris. That's really cool. It turns out she directed Wayne's World. So it turns out, and I never really thought about that. I watched Wayne's World recently as well, which is super funny. And so it just makes me super happy that a woman named Penelope Spheris directed 2, like, very, like, pivotal movies that were a part of my, I was a teenager when they came out, but a part of my growing up experience. That's just super cool. But it's well directed, like, it looks good. So all the things that make a good comedic movie, it's all there. And I think so if you're writing a comedy, or if you want to go into comedy, like directing comedy, I think this is a great movie to watch and study as far as, like, how to write, direct, act in comedies, and what kind of comedic actor do you want to be? Like, are you more of a Chris Farley, or are you more of, like, a David Spade type of vibe? Because I feel like they both had, or, you know, David Spade still has a pretty great career, I think, and Chris Farley definitely had a great career before we, unfortunately, before he passed away, which was super sad. But, yeah, when it comes to all the things that make a good movie, like, this movie is, like a full, it's the full thing. It's the full enchilada, if you will, or, yeah, trying to get the light to gleam off the DVD package correctly. So, yeah, so if in, I know Aristotle's Poetics, I have it up there on my bookshelf, but he talks about how with dramas or action or superhero movies, 3-act structure is important. He said with comedies, the plot tends, Aristotle said, the plot tends to be not as important. But I actually think, you know, with this, it has all of the things. It has good physical comedy. It has 3-act structure. It has a plot that makes sense. It's going somewhere. So I think all the things that make a good movie, this movie has it. And, you know, Chris Farley was, like, a genius. And so is David Spade, for sure. So, okay, so yeah, so, all right. So yeah, when I'm feeling sad or whatever, I'll watch Kajillionaire. I made that video, and I can link to that. But another one I watched for sure is Black Sheep. It's a great movie as well. That's a movie I watch whenever I'm feeling sad. I don't get tired of Kajillionaire. I just don't. It's a great movie. I don't get tired of Black Sheep. I've seen this movie tons of times. I don't get tired of it ever. The physical comedy in it, like, gosh, like, Chris was just so good. There's this scene where he's trying to talk some teenagers out of doing drugs, and he's, God, it's so funny. He's like, smoking dope. I don't know. You know, I'll leave it to the professionals. But it's such a funny scene where he's trying to encourage them not to do drugs, and these are like teenagers, so you know, he's trying to inspire them to do the right thing and all that kind of jazz. So it's a really funny scene. So yeah, Black Sheep is a great movie. As you can see, I have it on DVD. I have a DVD player. I will totally get up off my couch and take it out of this and watch it. It's probably streaming somewhere too. But it's a really great movie. So it's a really great movie because it's really, really funny. I laughed a lot. I always laugh a lot when I watch it. It is inspiring and motivating to like do the right thing. Always, no matter what the adversities are, to always fight for the greater good. That's what Chris Farley's doing in the movie. And then also, like, when it comes to all the things that make a good movie, like if you're an aspiring filmmaker or screenwriter, this is a great movie to study when it comes to writing comedy or directing comedy, because it has all the things that make a movie, like 3-act structure, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a really great movie. I watch it when I'm feeling sad, or I'll watch it when I'm feeling happy because it's so funny and I never get tired of it. So Black Sheep is a great movie. I think it's amazing. Chris Farley was a genius, and he's just always came across so lovable. And I do consider him, you know, one of my inspirations for why I wanted to go into filmmaking and why I wanted to go into comedies, for sure. And then the last thing I want to say, I was watching some sort of, it was like a behind the scenes thing about Chris Farley. I didn't get to finish it, but I remember what they said about Chris Farley was, like, he could party, like, really, really hard. And some would say, like, too hard, but you know, I have nothing but love for Chris Farley. But they said he would, like, party really, really hard on Saturday, but then he would go to mass on Sunday, right? So, like, church. And so what I would say is that seems to based on the fact that I didn't know him, that seems to sum him up pretty well, that, like, yeah, he probably partied a little too hard, but then he had a heart of gold. And so I think that he seemed to me like a good person, and I didn't know him. But he always seemed to me like a good person, like he had a good heart. That always came through in all his movies. So he was very much loved. I consider him an inspiration, like, for sure. Like, when it comes to comedy, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Chris Farley's. This movie is genius. There's also Johnny Boy. That's another movie that David Spade and Chris Farley did together. But yeah, he was super funny. I think he's awesome. Black Sheep is an amazing movie that I just never get tired of it ever. So that's awesome. Okay, yeah. So this is definitely one of the things I watch when I'm feeling sad or I want to laugh or just feel good. It's a great movie. So. Oh yeah, one of my favorite jokes in it, okay, there's a part where they're in a cabin together, they're playing checkers together. That's so funny. There's another part where David Spade is, like, snuggling with a Playboy magazine, and then Chris Farley looks at him and he goes, "Aw, that's sad." Oh god. So the jokes are just so funny when Chris Farley and David are in the cabin together and they're just going off of each other. They're so funny together. Yeah, but the whole movie is good. The whole movie is hilarious and sweet and good-hearted but still funny, and yeah. So alright, so Black Sheep is one of my favorite movies. It's definitely something I watch when I'm feeling sad. I totally recommend it. And also thank you for the comment, Ellen Claire. Yes, thank you for the comment, Ellen Claire. Alright, I'm Julie, writer and director of the indie nerdy comedy Geek Loves Punk. You can learn more about me below. You can subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things that totally... you can go to my website, join my email list, get access to a free course, how to finish your creative projects faster. Also, if you join my email list, you get coupons and to anything on my website. I have a Patreon, CashApp, all those things down below if you, yeah, want to support. Okay. Most important thing for sure is just remember that, like, life can be tough, life can be tough, but life can be really, really, really amazing. So the biggest thing about this movie is, like, Chris Farley, he always does the right thing, and no matter what, when he gets stuck in a voting booth, I mean, but he always comes out on top. He's always doing the right thing. He always has his heart in the right place. So his character is just really lovable and awesome. So, you know, life can be tough, but always be awesome and embrace the awesome of life, because there are really awesome things about life too. So, okay, so yeah, thank you so much for watching, and y'all have a great night. I'm filming this at night, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!